Some others should weep, some others should keep the memory of the way that
I have a special guest in my house. He's an amazing personality. And today, I will give him time for us to learn. We have a lot of things to learn today from him. He is Dr. Stanley Koko. Welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Nice. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much. This happens to be the first edition for the year 2025. So what we'll be looking at today, we're going to pay attention to our health. And under our health, I'm looking at men's health today, but generally it's going to comprise with everything regarding to healthy living for 2025. In as much as there are setting goals for 2025, what we need to do, resolutions, and so many other things that we've set to achieve goals, short-term goals and long-term goals. We need to also pay attention to our health because the ability for us to be able to achieve these goals relies basically to how healthy we are. So that is one of the reasons why I have invited this amazing person and to tell us what we need to do right and this is where we got it wrong in 2024. And some of us, the reasons why we are able to achieve what we intend to achieve in 2024 was because of our health. So to live a healthy life that will give, that will be a catalyst to us achieving whatever thing we need to achieve for 2025, we need to live a healthy life. So it's just going to give us a guideline on what we need to do. So I have a lot of questions to ask, but I know you don't have a lot of time. If I had time, I would have spent I have a lot of questions that I've written down, but I'm just going to find a way to summarize everything into 3 or 4 questions so that we can really go around to have a broader scope on what we need to do today. Okay, first, it's common in Nigeria and probably in Africa when you are fat or you have hot belly, people tend to have this constitutionalization or use it to measure your financial status that this person's this fatness or this pot belly is inside of his financial status means this person is healthy or is rich. I don't just feel that is a superstitious belief. What do you have to say concerning that? Let's just start with that first.
Okay. Thank you very much. Every society has what they believe in and what has come to form their mindset and mentality for a period of time. So, those days, or rather, people used to think that being on the very large side is it kind of denotes you're living large, living well, and all that. But from the health perspective, we don't see it that way. We don't see it that way. So there are certain indices that you could say somebody is healthy. And now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that anybody who is on the big side is unhealthy, so to speak. Some people are as healthy as you can imagine, and then they're very fit. So, but it now boils down to their health indices, and that's where we can say some people can still be on the slim side and still be totally grossly unhealthy. So that will be addressed, I'm sure, as we proceed.
Okay. So I want to kickstarting the year 2035. What do you think should be I have gone through some studies and I discovered that food affects our psychological mood, and affects our mood and affects everything regarding our personality. So I want us to, and it happens to be that, like here in Nigeria, we major in taking a starchy food. What do you have to say regarding that?
Okay, so it's a new year and everyone has their goals, have their dreams and aspirations and their endeavors and things they want to undertake. However, it will take a very healthy body to carry out those plans. So health, first of all, is a state of complete well-being, physical, mental, and social well-being. Okay, so as people plan their year, one of the things we tell them is that also take care of your health because that's going to carry you through. I mean, if you have several plans, you want to meet certain deadlines, you want to attend certain meetings, give certain talks at conferences, attend, things that are going to improve your life, your career. I mean, if your body is down or your psychology, your mind is down, you won't be able to achieve that. So you must factor in, or you should factor in your health when you're making your 2025 plans. So first of all, we tell people to go for their routine checks, just the basics. First of all, your blood pressure check, your sugar check, and then you do the cholesterol, kidney function, and depends on what your physician also recommends for you. You do those checks per time. And these tests are based on certain age criteria and certain underlying conditions, So your physician will put you through all that. So we believe that people should pay attention to their health. What we find out is that sometimes people neglect their health and then later break down and then spend all the accumulated from their endeavors on their health. Whereas if they had taken care of it, and this would have even been cheaper. One of the things we've come to know in the medical field is that we've noticed that prevention is not only better than cure, prevention is even cheaper than cure.
So indirectly, you're telling us that food, one way or the other, affects our daily productivity.
Oh, yes. First of all, from no food to too much food, they all have their implications when it comes to our daily living. For example, somebody who is going to carry lots of blocks and cements and all that, if he's not eating, or if he doesn't eat well, of course, he won't have the energy to carry out his activity. On the other hand, somebody who has to concentrate and then loads himself too much, or with foods that can make someone sleepy because there are foods like that because of their content, it makes the person drowsy. So that takes some productivity time. However, when someone eats well, eats a balanced diet, like we call it, we notice that people tend to function more optimally.
So what is eating well? You've made reference to eat well, okay. Eat well. What is the right thing to eat well?
Okay.
Why I want to throw this is, when you say eat well, does it refers to the quantity of food you eat?
Okay.
And what is eating well?
So eating well has a qualitative and quantitative aspect. So it's about the quality and the quantity. Now, the quality is that it has to be balanced, containing the food nutrients of different classes, and then in the right proportion. So that is quality and quantity. Because even if you take the right thing and you do it too much, it has its consequences. Okay? So that's why it has to be balanced. We call it balanced diet, containing the classes of food nutrients, and in their right proportion. However, when it comes to certain conditions, there are different recommendations that are tailor-made for different people, for different health conditions. There are certain things that I am allowed to take or I can't take because of my health status. However, person B, that is healthy, but he's not allowed to take that. And even if he will take it in a lesser quantity than I would. So that is what constitutes a very good diet.
From what you are saying now, so how would someone be able to detect or be able to know or come to the knowledge or the understanding that this food I'm taking, I need to take a lesser quantity of this and take more of this? How would someone come into that knowledge?
Beautiful. So this is where your health consultation comes in. Now, when we tell people to go for checkups, that will give your physician and your nutritionist, it arms them with the information to advise you. For example, there are certain fruits that are very good, but if somebody's sugar is very high, we tell the person not to take that, or even if the person will take that, a very minimal quantity. You see? So we cannot advise without tests, vital signs, and results of investigations. So that is where checking your health status, doing all the investigations, this is where they come in. Let me play it in a scenario. Somebody comes in and says, "Doctor, I want to eat healthy. I want to lead a healthy life. What do I do?" I'll ask you a few questions from your history, even from, family history and all that. Then I'll send you for certain investigations. There are certain things I see. I'll tell you, all right, go ahead, do this, and eat this, or avoid this. There are certain things we'll see. For example, if somebody's sugar level is so high, there are things we'll tell you, please, do you have this in your diet? We say, no, this one phase it out completely. For so and so, you take low amount. So that's why advice is based on the person's results, vital signs, history, and and other tests.
Looking at the economic situation and the society we found ourselves, it is very difficult for individual or the common Nigerian to have the financial stability to be able to go for these consultations. So what would you be your advice on how to measure out in taking the right proportion? Okay, taking the right quantity of food and the right proportion.
Okay, again, I would still stand on, like they'll say, existing protocol. I will still stand on the fact that the best advice comes from when someone has the indices that are already measured and the results are with the doctor and the doctor knows you personally. Okay. For example, I cannot tell you to go ahead and eat beans if it always makes your belly hurt. Some people eat beans and it doesn't. So if I'm advising you, I have to know you a bit. Then, okay, let's start from the medical consultations, investigations. I'm going to shake a table small. Okay. In Nigeria. I'm going to shake this particular table.
Okay.
We have noticed in the health sector, coming from from public to private and all that, we notice that sometimes when it comes to medical tests and all that, people are a little skeptical. People are a little reluctant. I'll use that word, reluctant. But when it comes to burial, there's contribution. I shook that table. Yes, we have to shake that table because some things, like I said earlier, prevention is cheaper than cure. There are tests we'll do for you. We'll give you the best advice. You may not even need to come to me anymore throughout the year. So I will advise Nigerians, if you need to borrow, if you need to sell something, do these tests and stay healthy, because when the chips are down, you will still do these tests. But sometimes, under emergency situations and the price is higher, then you start needing medications where you wouldn't have needed if we caught this thing early. So I'll strongly advise Nigerians, please do your tests, do the investigations that your physicians recommend. And I want to also mention this. I think the way we see our human bodies have to also be adjusted. I always tell people this. I use this simple analogy. I say, see the human body as the machinery God has given to you to operate on earth. Just like your car. Do you service your car?
Of course.
Yes, you do. Do you check your speedometer while you're driving?
Of course.
Good. Do you check your engine oil gauge?
Yes.
You check your fuel gauge, which tells you when to put fuel.
Exactly.
Why don't we do that for our bodies? The lab tests and all those things we go for are like your dashboard in your car. They tell you how much you have taken of cholesterol, how much you have done this with sugar, how this organ is performing, how you have stressed so and so organ. Your lab tests or the test results will just show us all about your organ. So I call it the dashboard of the human body, your investigation. So we should endeavor to do. We cannot overemphasize that.
Okay.
Thank you.
This should drive into this question.
Okay.
I became one of them after eating. I get this instantaneous crave for snack.
Okay.
It's not really apart from instantaneous crave for snack. Also, I get this. It's as if the food I eat automatically becomes a sleeping medicine.
So you eat and you
just eat, and suddenly you are so tired and you want to sleep. I became very, very worried. I said, okay, I needed to understand why is my body reacting to food or reacting this way after eating. What is happening? Why am I, as soon as I'm done eating, I'm craving for a snack, and what I indulge myself in snack.
Okay.
So I'm always surrounding myself with snack. And also, you're tired, your body is so tired, and you want to sleep, and sometimes you don't even know when you sleep off. So I went into research and discovered that there's something called glucose spike.
Okay.
Glucose spike, and that the food we eat or starchy food have massive glucose molecules.
Okay.
And this in turn have a way it affects our body, and our body reacts in this way. Okay. And when I did that research, and it was something like I described and said, it doesn't really mean, but I think if my body is and my body is reacting this way, it means there's something is wrong. So what is glucose spike?
Okay.
What is it all about?
So it doesn't always mean that something is wrong. That's why we will always advise people for follow up and then carry out some tests. So when you eat, like in this part of the world, we like a lot of carbohydrate. So we have the yam and small stew, small fish. Then we have the rice, and then so carbohydrate takes a whole lot.
A big swallow.
We have the swallows, several lumps, and then one small soup. So when you eat, in fact, that's part of the criteria in measuring how your body handles sugar. So when you eat, after that, 2 hours after you eat, we check your sugar level. So we call it the 2 hours postprandial after food. And then when we see that, we see how your body is handling sugar, and then we'll be able to let you know. Then another thing interestingly, apart from that spike in sugar level after you finish eating, is the fact that the human body is funny. Any organ that is so busy at that time, there's a way the blood supplies that area. Not that it neglects others, but they focus, and the supply becomes very, very higher there. Let me give you an example. So that's why you feel sleepy when after eating a heavy meal. So the body sees that the digestive system needs to do a lot of work and all that. So it pulls lots of blood down there. So other areas that are not very busy at the moment can take a rest. So that's why you feel sleepy too after eating heavy food. So it's not always that somebody is sick, and it's not always that something is wrong. Sometimes it's just, we call it splanchnic pulling. The organ that is most busy at that time, the body just make sure concentrates there, make sure that everything goes on very well there, and then pays less attention to other places, but not that it neglects. Then lastly, concerning the craving, if you like snacks, there's something we call lifestyle and dietary adjustments. If such snacks are healthy, some people snack on carrots. Remember, snack is not only biscuits, it's not only chin and all those things. Some people snack on garden egg. Some people snack on cucumber. They just cut it, they put it in little pieces and all that. So it depends on what you snack on. So that's what we are going to ask first. So that's the reason in the medical field, in the healthcare sector, if you notice, people don't throw out just one blanket advice for everybody, especially with regards to the particular foods you eat. We ask questions first, and then we know your health status before we recommend when it comes to that aspect, the food, diet, and lifestyle.
So the glucose spike does not really entail if you are healthy or not?
No, that it has to be measured. There's a spike, there's a level it gets to. It tells us how your body handles sugar, if that is good or not. So there's a measure to that. Yes.
The reason why I'm asking is there's something I jotted down. Excessive intake of food that have massive glucose molecules causes sleeping disorder and also affects our dream.
Our dream?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to see that research paper.
I did some of the. I studied some of the consequences of glucose spike. Some of the consequences of glucose spike. One of them is aging.
Aging. Okay.
Yes, it's the excessive
burnout. Yes.
It causes aging.
Okay.
So I think that's true.
Excessive is
because it's even like the glucose molecules.
Okay.
The massive
if you talk about oxidative stress, yes, if you're always
produces insulin, stuff like that.
The body produces insulin to regulate sugar.
And the sugar, and when it regulates, now the sugars are stored in the liver and other places. Okay. And if there are no ways to burn out, indirectly it affects.
So if you're always eating and all
because here in this part of this world, we are always eating starchy food. Okay. Our rice is more than the stew.
Yeah.
Our swallow is more than the meat or the... Like what you said at the beginning, you talk about eating in the right proportion.
Yeah, right proportion.
Your carbohydrates should not be more than the...
It should not be so much. There are proportions with regards to people's health. And there should be a balance, yes, with regards to people's health. For example, there's what we call dietary approach to stop hypertension, DASH diet. So those are people who are hypertensive, So there is a regulation when it comes to their kind of food, just so that it doesn't lead to any factor or doesn't increase their risk for hypertension worsening. Okay. Then, do you also know, interestingly, that there's something called have you eaten beans? And then, how do you feel after beans? Especially beans and pap. People feel sleepy.
I feel sleepy.
Okay, so people feel sleepy, and sometimes it's also a fallout of the content of those kind of foods, barbiturates and things like that. They make people sleep.
There's something I also
somnolence.
Something I noticed that I'm going to use myself now. Okay. That if I eat a lot of starchy food, swallow in the evening, or rice in the evening, I feel sleepy. But if I eat food that are high in protein, or vegetable, probably maybe like I eat a vegetable and plantain, or maybe it's just something vegetable and plantain, for instance. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that urge to sleep immediately.
Oh, okay. So sometimes there are peculiarities to this case.
Okay, since I'm peculiarity, it might be for just my body reacting this way, not general.
Exactly, not general, not for the entire general. There are people that once they eat at night, they could sleep at all.
Most of the food and fruits we eat are not 100% natural. Banana, for instance, I did a little research. So, banana, for instance, 5,000 years ago was not as sweet as it is now.
Okay.
Which is true, because there are a lot of things humans have added regarding to breeding of these fruits. We've introduced a lot of things into our soil that's maybe not as natural as it was maybe like 500 years ago. Because we want high production, we've introduced fertilizer, which has chemical components. And also, as a result of when they grow, we've introduced pesticides to kill pests. And directly or indirectly, these things affect one way or the other. It will affect the plants. And also, when we harvest these fruits, we also introduce a lot of things. Like, for instance, I remember, I don't know if I said this in the previous podcast. I went to the market and get beans, and in the process, I discovered that the beans, maybe in the act of killing the pests in it, they introduce a sniper. They use sniper. Man, when I ate that beans, oh my God, it felt like I took poison. My body reacted immediately. My body reacted negatively immediately. So what I'm saying is, one way or the other, our introduction of this chemical substance, the breeding of these plants, will also affect our body also. Because people have what is it called?
We hear
what is this thing called? Cabbath to fruits, to ripen fruits.
To ripen fruits, okay. Yeah, we hear all sorts of things. On social media, we see lots of so-called, practice and all that. That's why we advise people about. First of all, we start from the regulatory bodies. The health associations. When they get all these complaints, the regulatory bodies. Please, what are you talking about this? The NAFDAC and all those bodies involved. However, on the personal side, what we'll advise, having known that you live in a world where people can, cut corners and not be so thorough when it comes to doing their background work as regards your food, you will not take it upon yourself to do the needful. Now, I'll start with hygiene. And when these people get all these things, pesticides and all that, when it comes to the foods, there are ways to wash different things. Vegetable, fruits that you're going to eat whole, fruits that you're going to take away the peel, and all that. So we expect that people, and we advise that people should take extreme measures when it comes to their hygiene for things that you're going to consume. Since outside, they're not going to wash it for you. You do it inside. Wash it thoroughly. The ones that will need to soak in salt and water, you soak them. The ones that need to be washed first, you wash them. And then you just make sure that whatever you're getting into your kitchen to cook and serve on your table is as healthy as should be. Because if these people keep doing this in outside, next thing is the regulatory bodies come around to them. Then they start hiding and all that, and some things go through the back door and find its way to the public. Well, you have to safeguard yourself and your family. Then the issue of the genetically modified plants, they call them GMO things, yeah? So there's a scientific advancement when it comes to, plants, ripening faster. People have studied this thing and said, oh, if you genetically modify them like this will produce so size. It's more profitable. Some people say it's seedless. Some things will now have different shapes. In fact, I saw one very interesting one. There's a way they plant even cucumber. It will come out in a square shape. Yeah, very interesting. And guess what their intention was? They kept researching to find out how well can we package more for transportation, and that's how they came about that. So so in as much as they modify this, I believe that they still pass through regulations to make sure it's safe before it comes out. But otherwise, it shouldn't have been made public.
There might be proper regulatory body in the developed world in regulating what comes out into the public, but I don't think that plays down in this in our culture, in Nigeria, or in this side of the world. The reason why I'm saying this is living healthy have a long way plays and affects our socio-economic life in the sense that once, whether we like it or not, the food we eat directly or indirectly affects our body.
Yes.
Short time or long time.
Yes.
So for instance, now, if I have taken that beans, or I get used to taking that beans, which is always introduced, a sniper is always introduced maybe as a means of preventing the wolves in it. Yeah. A long time, taking that beans for a long time, maybe for 10 years, it might affect.
Could have, yeah.
Could or will.
That's where there's a caveat. If you take it without those hygienic measures, for example, there's pesticide on it, but you don't soak, you don't boil properly, and all that, then there could be. But if you take all the measures, I think you will minimize the effect, even long term.
Okay. Now, there's a high rate of CKD, chronic kidney diseases, in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. And I think I did one or two. So the chronic kidney disease is the 10th leading cause of all deaths globally. The 10th leading. The Nigeria Health Watch said in their report that inadequate knowledge of risk factors is one of the major reasons that affects that other causes this CKD. And I don't know if in Nigeria we have any health centers or research centers.
No, research centers. I'm not sure of how many, and I'm not sure of where they are. However, what I can say is that that's why this enlightening the public from time to time cannot be overemphasized. Public health awareness programs. This is where they come in, to tell people, stay hydrated, stay as hydrated as possible. If you have any underlying condition, please let it be addressed. Because up there they are easily dehydrated, and you need a lot of water. You hear people tell you that as simple as water can help you keep your kidneys healthy. Now imagine if your system is always playing around that. Then you watch your blood pressure, check all the parameters. You see, the body is an interlink of systems. You hear things like respiratory system, cardiovascular system. They all work together. A can affect B as well as B can affect A. A system, the cardiovascular system can be affected by something, an issue from kidney, an issue from the kidney can be affected by something, and can affect something in the blood like that. So they are all linked, and that's why we don't joke with health awareness programs. And that's one of the reasons if you invite doctors to health awareness programs like public speaking, health talks, they are quick to agree, because by making the population aware of these things, they are able to take certain measures that will curb the incidence of all these chronic diseases.
Okay, so that's fine. Okay, and so I will ask a question regarding this CKD. Okay. What do we need to avoid, and what kind of food do we need to take to help the kidney?
Okay, so first of all, let's start with the basics. Water. take enough. You know, the kidney is the filtration system
of the body.
Yes, of the body. So whatever goes into the body, after the breakdown process, and in the process of breaking down, you know, there are wastes that need to be discarded. There are byproducts of certain, you know, compounds or foods and all that, and these need to be taken away. So that's the excretory system, you know. So the kidney has to flush it. It needs even the water to help it do that work. That's one. Two, substance use. We should endeavor to not load our systems with things that are toxic to us, to our organs.
Things like what?
I'll give you a simple example. Bleaching cream.
Wow.
Cream. Yes, some creams.
So
that's why
cream can affect
yes,
the kidney.
it can affect the kidneys. So they contain certain, you know, we talk about things that when you take over a period of time, will now hit an organ or affect an organ. Yeah, same thing with things you apply. How do you think when people apply creams, how does it work? The body absorbs it. There are blood capillaries. When you are caught with a razor, you see blood.
Yes.
Even if, no matter how shallow, even when you bruise your hand, you see how red it is. Yeah, there are capillaries there. So the body also absorbs from the skin. So even when they advertise skin products, they say it contains vitamin E and all that. So the question, how does your body take it? It's from the top. Topical application. Just like you have the ones you put inside, you have the ones that you have things that people take in the vein, there are things that people take from the skin. So when people apply certain things on their bodies for a while, the cumulative effect of certain components of those things now can affect the kidneys. So yes, and some things that we ingest. This is the reason on certain medical advisory on certain products, they will tell you, please show to your physician. You know, when I was much younger, I used to wonder, even if I wanted to become a doctor, I used to wonder, doctors, that is too much. Anything I want to take, I must come and show you. Even cream I want to rub, I must come and show you. It was when I started seeing the effects of these things, I now understood the importance of showing your physician. Do you know that you don't have to be sick to see your doctor? Sometimes you just go to your doctor. Just say, doctor, I like this cream. I like this cream. Or somebody brought this cream for me. Somebody brought this supplement for me. Please check, can I take this? And he looks at the content and says, this. You can take this one, don't take this, and please avoid this cream.
Yes. So, not only what we take in can affect the kidney, but
Yes,
what you apply on
yes,
the body can also affect the kidney.
Exactly.
You see, I think that's one of the reasons why we're having high rates of kidney.
people take a lot of substances,
a lot of apply a lot
things
of things
on the skin, and drink a lot of things that I don't know if I'm allowed to mention.
Okay,
and some of these things that they have very harmful effects.
Well, what do you say? There's a high rate of the intake of energy drink among young people in Nigeria, because now we don't eat the right way. It's difficult to meet up with eating the right proportion of nutrients.
So
we're taking
okay.
this. They call it as a supplement.
Okay.
I need energy. Man, just buy an energy drink and you take it. Okay, to boost up.
Okay.
So don't you, I think this energy drink also have effect.
Not just about the kidney. Some things are direct in the human body. Some things affect directly, while some things affect indirectly. In other words, they will hurt something else that will in turn hurt the kidney.
Okay.
So let me give you an example. You talk about energy drinks, yeah? You know they contain stimulants too. Apart from just the high calories, they contain stimulants because your heart to race. And it's one of the things that is linked to a high rate of hypertension in our society today. So, you know, when we were much younger, we used to hear of high BP and all these things for elderly people. Guess where it has come down to 38 and early 30s, even coming to early 30s and all that. So we have to be careful. And that's why I will still say this, because I'm inside the sector. So I will be able to, advise. I will still say this. I think every family should have a physician that they consult. One. And number two, please consult your physicians and ask questions. Because we've seen certain people who have taken some things, and now, guess what? That thing they've been taking is now causing them to now buy medications every month that they now have to live on. Yes. So that's why we have to take this part of our lives seriously as well. You can be pursuing your goals and all that. What if your human machinery stops you on the way? How are you going to attain those goals? So you have to take care of the human machinery as well. And that cannot be overemphasized.
Okay. You know why I'm kind of, I take energy drink a lot. I do take energy drink. I don't really take energy drink. Number one, I start my day with coffee. And along the line, before the end of the day, I take energy. I'm trying to cut down on those. Usually the intake of energy drink.
Okay. So in medicine, we'll not ask you, why do you do that?
Why do I take?
Why do you take that? Is it that it helps you start your day?
Coffee helps me start
your day. Good. It makes you feel energized.
It makes you just keep the brain active immediately.
So we now go to ask such an individual which kind of coffee. You see? So now this is the issue. Why do we need something external to, in quote, stimulate the system? That's number one. Okay. Number two, if you take water and start your day, the question is, do you feel the same way or you don't feel the same way? So when we ask people these questions, we are able to let the person see, because in healthcare advisory, we are able to paint the picture for you, put the cards on the table, and then advise you on how to choose and choose rightly for your health. Let me give an example. If someone is, takes coffee a lot and this and that, question is this: why? Oh, you want that stimulation, you want that feel-good feeling. The question is, the day you don't take it, do you know what's going to happen? There's something we call withdrawal symptoms. When you're so used to something and you don't take at that point, and you are now addicted to it, it becomes a problem. Now the person becomes irritable. You can snap at your boss. And what would that cause in the long term at your work? You can snap at somebody. You can become less focused. Irritable. I must get if I don't get this, my day has not started. That mentality can rob you of certain man hours and can be very expensive in the long run. So we usually don't advise people to be on things that stimulate all the time. The body is funny. If you keep doing that, it gets used to it. Yes, then you become addicted. The day you don't see there's a problem.
And apart from you become addicted, it gets used to it, and a time comes when the amount you're taking become less effective.
You now have to go higher because of the threshold. Yes. So where is that thing taking you to? Let it not carry you to where you don't know. So that's why, yes, let it not take you to where you don't know. So that's why we tell people a healthy diet and healthy lifestyle. Okay. We keep emphasizing it. No healthcare practitioner will want to go out of that, because we have seen the consequence of not adhering to such advice. Yes, that's all.
Okay. Let's go into this Japa. I call it Japaism. I don't know if there's any word like that.
Oh, we hear that a lot. Japa, emigration. Yeah, when people leave.
No, Japa is different. The word Japa comes from I think the Yoruba slang, meaning that means escape.
Oh, escape.
Yes, it's totally different from migrating.
Oh, okay.
So it's totally different from migrating. Oh. The word is the Yoruba word.
Oh, okay.
It means escape. I had to look for the origin of the word and also find what it means, another one associated with the word Japa. And I want to give you some stats. I want to read some stats before we go into this aspect of the Japa syndrome. And funny enough, I did some months ago, I think last year, February, I did a study on Japa extensively.
Wow.
I read so many articles and citations on it.
Oh, wow.
So many of it online. There's something I wanted to write. I wanted to write something about it, but I just paused. So let me give you stats. It is said to be that about 16,000 doctors have left the country between 2019 and 2024.
Okay.
The Guardian newspaper said 56% of Nigeria wants to relocate to Japan. I think it's more higher than that.
The desire, yes.
I also checked that in every 10 Nigeria, one person wants to leave the We want to start at every 10 Nigeria. I think by now she will be higher. And between January to September 2023, 1,574,357 people left Nigeria.
That's people, okay. 1 million.
Notes, 1,574,357 people left Nigeria. The last 2 years, the total of 3,679,496 Nigerians left Nigeria.
Okay.
Nigerian Medical Association, the NMA, according to Nigeria, 16,000 doctors left the country between these. Nigeria have
between when and when?
2019 and 2023.
Okay, 16,000 doctors.
Nigeria have only 55,000 registered doctors. No, registered doctors by the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA. So I did just a ratio that it means one doctor, just in our population, using 250 million as a population, this one doctor to 15,635 people. That is alarming. So now I want to ask, why, especially in the health sector, what is causing this surge for medical practitioners doing everything possible to leave the shores of Nigeria? Because I also did yesterday night. I was trying to go through the medical code of conduct, as in, and I discovered that just same way the police needs to serve, it's fair. No matter your financial status or what you earn, you just have to serve. The same also applies to the medical practitioner. But the search for the medical practitioner just to live. Why? You have the wrong goal.
Okay.
Why do you?
Okay.
Why do
you know that looking for greener pastures has been something that has been a human tendency, even right from the Bible days. When there was famine in the land, they had to go to Egypt. Abraham did it. Another person, Isaac, wanted to do before God says, just you wait. Okay. So there's this human tendency. In fact, I think it's a tendency, it's a proclivity of living things to go towards favorable environment. In fact, let me show you. There's something in the plant's life they call phototropism. So if a plant needs light and is not getting it very well, it will bend towards where it will get light. So same thing, it's just a tendency for living things. But when the factors to promote that action are so much on ground, of course you will have it in an exodus level where people will want to live. So people live for various reasons. Some people live because it's a trend. However, people live because they want to go where their value is more appreciated. There are certain things. The
Japa syndrome is you're using I think you're smoothing it with what's going on.
I'm giving you the background reason. Of course, interestingly, I just got to know that Japa means to escape, not just to travel. I thought it was just immigration, going out. But now that it has to do with escape, they're escaping. For people who want to escape, they are escaping a certain condition that they don't seem favorable. And this does not mean that the people are not patriotic. I know people who are outside the shores of this country who are so concerned. In fact, they know Nigerian news. They are more current in Nigerian news than myself that is in Nigeria.
I know,
So it's not like they are not patriotic, but they have families too to feed. So let me start from cultural factors to organizational factors and then to national factors. So let me start from cultural factors. It is noticed by certain people, they've observed that people feel doctors should just work because it's a service to humanity. They should just work, even if they're not being paid, just keep working and going. It's a perception in Nigeria. People just feel that doctors should just be working, even if they don't give you a, don't complain now, you are saving life, just work. Forgetting that these people have families.
Those are medical ethics.
Well, medical ethics. However, there are also factors under which you can't even do that.
Okay, let me ask you.
If the environment is hostile.
Okay, the environment is also hostile to the police force and other service providers.
And do you think they are not Japa?
I do not think the
Japan rates. The rates may not be as much as
medical work.
Yes.
What I also think before you, I believe majority of the reasons why this medical practitioner and living in the shores of Nigeria are more of selfish interest. Don't you think so?
I won't call it selfish interest.
Because if the reason why you are living, if just the reason why you're living is for financial stability, then I would say it is
selfish.
I don't think it's patriotic.
So let me ask a question. Let's say you have a brother and he's exposed to all sorts of hazards in the medical world. And then he comes back home at the end of the month and he's told, God bless you. My God will reward you. And he comes back home. The question is, he has done a good work saving lives here. What will he feed his family with? I will put it this way. If people are well catered for, they won't see a reason to leave anyway. Because while they are taking care of other people, they also have to be taken care of. If they have a system that makes them thrive, people will not want to leave. Do you see people relocating from the other way, US, down here, except for business reasons? Exactly. They come out and visit and go back. So, I wouldn't call it selfish because they have to survive first. It takes somebody who is well motivated, your head is clear, you are thriving, you can survive. Okay, if a doctor has not eaten and he's going to the hospital, he's starving, he's hungry, do you think he's in the best place to see a patient? So you see, that's where ethics and certain levels of practicality and factors come into play. So, yes, I have to serve humanity, but if I'm hungry, I'm not even allowed, if I'm not in the right frame of mind. So they need a lot of things: motivation, good environment, equipment to work. There are doctors who want to work, but certain organizations just don't have the equipment. See, certain facilities are just a shadow, just offering skeletal services. And these people know the technique, they know what to do. In such a case, you won't even feel fulfilled as a doctor. Imagine knowing you have to save a life. Imagine knowing that you just need to plug a machine and get something into somebody's nostril and clear his chest. And there's no lights to do that. The machine packed up. You wrote to management. Management has not, the management sent it to the state board. State board has not approved and all that. And it's right there in front of you. And somebody is in severe respiratory distress. How do you think you go home as a doctor? You know, one of the parts that many people don't consider is the psychological well-being of doctors. You hear the case of doctors burning out 72-hour shifts and all that. You wouldn't want to stay in such an environment. You will burn out and further deplete the number of doctors to patients. So you see, I wouldn't call it selfishness. I would call it a struggle for survival. If they were surviving, like where they are going to, there are people who, do you know, interestingly, there was a report sometime in Canada, I can cite the year. The authorities increased the pays for doctors. They increased it to the point where doctors say, it's okay. Can you give the money to some other people? Yes. Wow. They are so comfortable. There are people, like you see them in the movies. Go there. There are some people who are so motivated. They want to stay and do extra shifts, not only for the money. The equipment is there to practice. I mean, people come in and equipment is there to handle the cases and people live better. It makes you want to stay. There are people that their consultants have to tell them, go home. Your shift is over. Go home. They are so motivated to work. That's what we're talking about. If people had that environment here, I don't think many people will leave. Many people are looking into the sector. So first of all, there's a cultural part. People don't think doctors should be well taken care of. They just say doctors should just walk. There are many people who just, that's the reason for this whole issue of when you go to certain health facilities, they say open a folder. Because they found out over time. At first, I used to also criticize that thing. I'm like, no, in healthcare services, we should just see the patient, attend to the patient, quickly. Money should be secondary. But the question is, do you pay the nurses with a handshake? No. Do you pay are you going to pay the lab results, the reagents used, the consumables used in catering for the patient? How are you going to go to a shop and tell them, I'm sorry, I'm a doctor, God bless you, give us supplies? It's not going to happen. People have to pay for services. So I think we start with value reorientation. People have to understand that we need to place a premium on healthcare. First of all, from the people's side, of which this will translate into government as well. So then on the organization side, healthcare, different facilities that are state-run, federal-run, corporate-run, private-run, and all that. If people have the equipment, if just imagine there's a subsidy on acquiring certain machines all around the country. Okay, if you're a private hospital, if you're getting this into the country tax-free, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, and all that. Do you know how healthcare will be sweet in this country? You know, but when things are gotten at a premium, it will still translate down to the patient's pain. And many people don't want to pay. And let me shock you. Do you know that there are some people, when this happens, I saw this in my stay in some tertiary hospital. So there are some people who don't want, they just believe healthcare should be free. They won't want to pay. They can even lie that they don't have any dime. They'll say, oh, the whole pregnancy, 9 months, nothing. They can't, that they don't even have 100 naira and all that. But it will shock you. Such person has amassed money for child education to show off, but they will not pay for their health care. It's one aspect of our mentality that needs to be addressed. And that's the reason some hospitals can't acquire equipment. Because they keep doing things free. Costs. Oh, they go to the different medical directors. You need to know the level of charity ongoing in Nigerian hospitals. I must commend them. I got to hear certain, private details in certain places, certain hospitals. And, somebody's bill is 400 or something thousand because of the complications and all that, and they have to slash for the person. How would that hospital get more equipment? So the doctors there will get to a point where they will get saturated, they will feel unfulfilled, because things to take them to the next level is not there. Then such person will have to phototropism, turn to where there's more light and more water.
But from my findings,
yes,
I think some doctors who have migrated, who have Japa, as a result of finances, which happens to be one of the reasons. I know, of course, yes, it's a major role, because I have to take care of myself and also take care of
your family.
They don't get satisfaction when they get there. Try some of them who have moved over to the UK. They don't get the satisfaction or the expectation. Okay, I think when I get there, they tend to work more. And what they get, I've heard some news. I don't know if they are rumors. I don't know if you've heard such. They don't get or
as
the
much as they expected.
Yes.
Yes. So it's a problem of a mismatch between expectation and reality. Sometimes, sometimes young folks are culpable when it comes to expectation versus reality. Yeah. In fact, that's one of the major causes of midlife crisis, when you expect that you should have gotten so heights, and the reality of that doesn't match that expectation, and then it starts affecting the person psychologically. So yes, there's the component of expectation and reality mismatch, but I will say that people have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. You go there, you start the exam, or you do the exams, you get qualified. You definitely have to rise up the ranks. Same thing here. You have to rise up the ranks to the point